What is up, guys? Sushi Mancer here. So it's been a while since I uploaded a new video. I did a deck tech on Kadira, the voice of the small, I think, and then I just took a break. I waited for Double Masters to come out because maybe there's like a new commander in Double Masters that I liked a lot, but basically it was all reprints from like other commander legendaries that were already existed. Some which Zur is budget, Muldrotha drop down, and I can think of any other off the top of my head that were like pretty cheap. So Commander Legends Baulder Gate is pretty much the best recent set, and since release I like Jon Irenicus a lot. I'm going to do a quick deck tech video on him. There's a lot of ways that you can build Jon Irenicus, Shattered One, but the way that I approached it right is I use his ability. It says at the beginning of an end step, target opponent gains control of up to one target creature you control. Put 2+1/+1 counters on it and tap it. It's goaded for the rest of the game, and it gains this creature can be sacrificed. And then whenever a creature you own but don't control attacks, you draw a card. So the way I approached this deck is I used a lot of unblockable creatures to basically have them deal damage to each other, like all your opponents attack each other, and you basically just control the game with removal spells, counter magic, you protect your combo pieces, and there's a lot of ways in the deck to draw your cards other than the unblockable creatures, but I will get to that in a second. So first off, in this deck, because it's dimmer and this budget, this combo basically made it to budget level, is Grand Architect and Pilipala. Somehow this combo, its price dropped to a certain degree of it being considered budget, and I included in this deck. So what the combo is, right, is Grand Architect is a 3 mana 1/3 Vidalcan Artificer that says other blue creatures you control get +1/+1. But the relevance of this card in the deck or combo is for 1 blue, you target artifact creature becomes blue until end of turn. And then you tap an untapped blue creature you control, add 2 mana, 2 colorless mana, and then spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate the ability of artifacts. And then Pelipala says you pay 2 to untap it and you add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So in this case, you make Pilipala a blue artifact creature. You tap it for 2 mana. You untap it for 2 mana, and you use the 2 mana that you gain from tapping it to untap it again. And then you net 1 mana of any color. And this 5 mana combo basically nets you infinite mana. And you use that mana to cast spells. There's a lot of different spells that you can cast with this, but who doesn't want infinite mana in a budget deck? So first off, we're going to get 2 ways to ramp. Through Burnished Tyrant, Burnished Heart, what am I saying? And I managed to fit in a Soul Ring in this deck. I think it's essential. It's a Soul Ring helps a lot, and Soul Ring's price to drop after Baldur's Gate, Commander Legend Baldur's Gate. 1 Commander Sphere, 1 Spinning Wheel, Fountain of Ichor, Letter of Acceptance, all tapping for either all colors or blue and black. For example, the Mokirun tapping blue and black, the Locket as well, and Bonders Ornament that taps for any color, and you can tap it and pay 4 mana and tap it to draw a card. And that's it for the ramp in this deck. This I'll get to the most interesting stuff in this deck, but because Jon Irenicus is a wizard, I thought could fit well in this deck, because you can counter a spell for 2 mana. Then you have Essence Scatter, countering a creature, Spell Pierce, non-creature unless they pay 2. Whirlwind Denial, very good if there's a lot of cards you don't like on the stack. Supreme Will, you can counter a spell unless they pay 3, or you can look at the top 4 cards of your library. There's a Sabotage, just counter spell and then you surveil 1. Dissolve for 3 mana, you counter spell and scry 1. Mana leak, for 2 mana, a spell is countered unless they pay 3. Negate just counters any non-creature spell. The spell counters any instant, which is very relevant and good. That's it for the ways to counter magic, but next we're going to get into interaction and removal through Casmina's transmutation. Froggify, the creature loses all abilities and is a blue frog creature with base power and toughness 1/1. So with this, you can the opponent can still attack and block with the frog, but if you use this on any other spell, unless like other than the commander, you can basically remove anything. Agonizing Remorse, you exile a card from the opponent's hand for 2 mana and then you lose 1 life. Unsummon, you return target creature to its owner's hand. You can use this to save unblockable creatures, use it to save Jon Irenicus, and basically turn any creature to its hand, to its owner's hand. Duress, you take a non-creature, non-land card from anyone's hand. This could be any artifact, I believe, any artifact, any spell, counter magic, opts, anything, any enchantments, enchantment artifacts, and basically all non-land, non-creature cards. And then Price of Fame. Sorry, you destroy target creature, and if it's a legendary, it costs 2 less, so that you for 2 mana you can destroy target creature if it's a legendary, and then you surveil 2. Eliminate, basically removing any low on the ground creature or planeswalker. Cast down, destroy target non-legendary creature. Was also reprinted in Baldur's Gate. Victim of Night, you destroy target non-vampire, non-werewolf, non-zombie creature. And then Blink of an Eye, if you kick it, you draw a card, but otherwise you return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand for 2 mana. And that's it for interaction. There is other ways to interact in this deck. For example, ways to protect your board through you see a card approach. You can tap a creature, or you can give target creature control Hexproof. The Fairy's Time Twist. You exile target permanent you control, and then you return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. If it's a creature battlefield, if it enters the battlefield as a creature, it enters with an additional +1/+1. A Museum Skin, you can give target creature Hexproof and +0/+1 until end of turn. 5 down, you can give a creature Hexproof and +0/+3. That's it for ways to protect your board state. Now we're going to get into the way to make this deck actually function and work. We're going to get to Slitherblade, which is basically just a 1/2 unblockable. But with Jon Irenicus, it gets 2 +1/+1 counters, so it turns it into a 3/4. Tormented Soul, also just unblockable. Triton's Shore Stalker, also unblockable. Invisible Stalker, hexproof and unblockable, so it can be targeted, which is very good. Dimmer Infiltrator, it functions as a tutor for transmute, so you can tutor for any 2 mana card with a transmutability, and it's also an unblockable creature. Flitter Step Eidolon, you can give anything, you can bestow anything and make it unblockable, and give it a +1/+1, like it gets it buffs it slightly, or it's by itself. It by itself can also not be blocked. Then Metathron Soldier, it's just plain unblockable, and this is where it gets interesting. So Blighted Angel, or Blighted Agent, is a 1/1 human rogue that has Infect and is unblockable. With this, you can basically give this to an opponent, and then that opponent attacks any other opponent each turn if able. And at this point, it is a 3/3 with Infect. So this can basically eliminate anyone through Infect damage. Not Infect damage, but Infect. yeah, so ways to look for the combo is through just an opt, scry 1, draw a card. You hold the multiverse, scry 2, draw 2 cards, and you can foretell it. Obsessive Stitcher, you basically draw a card and discard a card, and then you can reanimate something for 4 mana. And Raza Cape's right, you can pay 1 black and cycle it, or you can search your library for a card and put it in your hand, and then shuffle your library. Illicit Shipment, I added this to the deck because I really like the card. And Casualty 3 works on Jon Irenicus itself. So if you pay this for 5 mana and you sacrifice Jon Irenicus, you can basically copy it and search for 2 cards. Necrologia, for 5 mana you can cast it at your end step, and then you can pay X life and draw X card, which is good to dig for cards. And yeah, it's just very good. I think it's very good, and it is $1, so it's pretty budget. Diana's Ploy, you draw 2 cards and discard a card. You gain life equal to the number of cards you've discarded this turn, and it has jump starts. You basically cast it from your graveyard and discard a card. Fact or Fiction, reveal the top 5 cards of your library. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. And then Mystical Teachings, you basically, for 4 mana, you search for any instant card that has flash. The instant or a card that has flash, you reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. That basically helps you look for other instant and counter magic if you do not have counter magic at the moment. And then some cool creatures is Ghostly Pilferer. It is basically just a drawing engine that you use to discard a card, make an unblockable, and then untap it and pay 2. And then whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, you draw a card. So it helps against foretell creatures, foretell spells. They played from their graveyard or anywhere else, even from exile. Then you discard a card and it gets unblockable. Then Waveplay, Hippocamp for 3 mana. It's a horsefish, seahorse, you would say. Whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, draw a card. So with this on the battlefield, you can basically replace any instant or counter magic with another card, and you can hopefully draw into more counter magic. I really like Painseer. I don't know why, I just like this so much. It reads, it's a 2 mana a human wizard that's a 2/2 body that has, whenever Painseer becomes untapped, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to that card's converted mana cost. I don't know why, I just love this card so much. It's, in my eyes, it's basically a Dark Confidant, but it needs to get untapped. Then Talran Sky Summoner, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 2/2 blue drake creature with flying. And then Murmuring Mystic, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, create a 1/1 blue bird. And that's it for any cool creatures in this deck. And then also an alternate win condition that's also budget is this Tereskai Decaphile. It reads, it's a 2 mana 1/3 human wizard that reads, you have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. And then for 4 mana you can draw a card. So with this, you can basically you can draw cards of Jon Irenicus. You can have infinite mana and draw cards to have exactly 13 cards in your hand, and then you can win the game that way. So in my eyes, it's basically a laboratory maniac with extra steps, because in a sense you win by having, like having a certain amount of cards in your hand instead of an empty library. And that's it for alternate win conditions. Then I have some toolbox cards that I added for specific reasons. Scourge Familiar I added because you can discard cards to Scourge Familiar to exactly have 13 cards in your hand for this guy Decaphile. Merfolk Looter, you can tap it to draw a card and discard a card, so you can loot for other win conditions. Omen of the Sea, you basically scry 2 and draw a card, and you can sacrifice it to scry 2. Verity Circle is also very useful. It reads, whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes tapped, if it isn't declared as an attacker, you may draw a card. So any mana dork, any other, like any card that gets tapped for any other reason but attacking, you draw a card. And it happens a lot. Like, it's not that niche. It does happen quite often. And especially if the deck you're playing against is very reliant on mana dorks, you will draw a ton of cards. And then last but not least, the land base on this deck. I'm running 18 swamps and 18 islands to keep this deck budget and cost efficient. But yeah, guys, that is it for this deck. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to be making other videos on a lot of the Commander Legends, Baulder Gates legendaries, because I think this set was very well designed. Some of the cards are very unique and they don't have similar effects in other legendaries at the moment, especially not Jon Irenicus. But actually, I think that Spymaster legendary is similar, but you can give. My approach was giving unblockable creatures and then controlling the board state. But I've seen other lists where you basically play creatures that has like a very significant downside. For example, if this attacks or at the beginning of your turn, sacrifice a creature or sacrifice even all your creatures. But to keep this deck budget and in a sense competitive, I opted with an unblockable creature approach, so that you basically every turn, any opponent's turn, you draw a card. And I think goad, the card attacks each turn if able, and it attacks any other player other than you. No, wait. It attacks each combat if able and attacks a player other than you if able. So it attacks each turn and it attacks another opponent other than you. So you can give unblockable creatures to all your opponents. Let's say you have 3 each, and that's 9 damage each turn that can't be prevented. And in that way you can create, you can basically have them battle each other and then you win through that way, which I really liked. I took that approach with this deck. There's a lot of ways that you can build this, but this is just the way I did. A lot of the creatures with the bad downsides are not always budget, and this was obviously a budget deck and a budget approach. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys in one of my Twitch streams. I'm going to be streaming other Magic or other games that I own. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe. I know like a lot of the people that watch my videos are not subscribers, but I would appreciate it a lot if you guys did. If you like the video and want to see more budget Commander deck decks, I'm going to be making them as new sets are being released. Not as frequent as I would, because I personally can't build a deck around a legendary that I don't personally like. That's one of the reasons why this comes so easy to me, is I can see a way to either break or build around a legendary permanent, legendary creature. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video and stay safe.